Hello YouTube. I'm going to do a review of some of my favorite knives, and I think there's 4 of them. Hopefully I can get them all before my battery goes. Probably have to do them in a couple parts though. And I'm going to go from largest to smallest to largest, and that equates to also the cheapest to most expensive. So here is a Schrade Old Timer. At the time, this was about $14. All the knives are probably around $2 more than what I'm going to say they are now. I bought this a couple years ago. This is the best hunting knife you can use as far as gutting and skinning your game is concerned. It's not going to do much for survival. Can't hack down limbs with it very well. But for gutting and skinning your game, you can't really beat this. The curved blade is nice and it's small. That's what's important. You can put your finger along the length of the blade, and then when you're working, especially inside of an animal, gutting them, you're very aware of where that blade is doing this. Chances of cutting yourself are a lot less than with a larger knife. Specifically the last one I'm going to show you. My dad's cut himself on that when he was younger before, and he switched to this and I switched to this, and awesome knife. So like I said, it's about $14, probably around $16 now. Everything's going up in price. Kind of sucks. Full tang. The handle's made out of some sort of a plastic, but it's a pretty durable plastic. Pretty good blade. You can put a nice edge on it, which makes it good for skinning. Also, this curve right up here, you can get right in between the skin and the meat on that fat membrane really well. The sheath does kind of suck. Granted, I don't like it that much. Let's see. See, it's clasped. So what I do is I don't carry it on my belt. I usually carry it in a pocket or in a bag because it looks a little overexposed. But so it's clasped, but you can still pull it out. So I'm worried it'll fall out. And for a little bit I did carry this every day, but then I started carrying another knife on this list, and so Schrade Old Timer, good hunting knife, cheap. If you lose it, I mean $14 or $16, whatever it is, isn't all that bad. If you were to lose it out in the woods, not much to replace, but a very effective knife. This next knife is the newest one in my knife collection, and it is the Smith & Wesson boot knife as it was marketed in Bi-Mart, which is kind of a local store, locally owned and operated. I don't know how far it reaches. I know it works in the Northwest. Yeah, and I don't know how common you can buy this one, but all the other knives in this you can get at like Walmart, something like that. They're pretty common. So it said it was marketed as a Smith & Wesson boot knife. It is Smith & Wesson, but it says it's HRT, which is an FBI unit, hostage rescue team. I don't know if the FBI HRT team does take this knife in with it, but who cares? This was about $18, and this is a recent price. I bought this not too long ago, so as of June 15th, 2010, it's about $18. Has a molded scabbard sheath, friction, whatever. There's no snap. It just kind of, there's the knife, a dagger type blade. I believe it's a full tang also. There are a couple. I like the knife. The handle is made out of this. It's a very interesting handle. It's hard. It feels kind of like a hard plastic, but when you really move around on it, it has the traction of like a soft rubber. I don't know. It's really interesting. You do slip a little more on it than you should for a mainly thrusting type weapon. But this looks kind of like the knife that you'd pull if your gun's dry and your combat knife fell or something. Couple things I don't like. First off, this is the dagger type blade. Now, while I like the dagger type blade, it came with only this side sharp. This side was completely dull. flattened even. A dagger blade, to be completely effective, needs to have both sides sharpened. Otherwise you don't get the ease of thrust, and then you're more likely to cut yourself. Not to mention, there's no way of discerning which side's which when it's in the sheath. So if you pull out real fast, you know, who knows, you might hit him with the dull side. So I took a file to that side to get the mass of the metal down quick, and then a large grit, stone, and then a fine grit, and then honed it up, and it's doing pretty good now. The scabbard, couple things I don't like about it. One, the belt clip here was designed to come out. It has this little ridge, and that slides in there and has a little lip that's supposed to stick on. Now, while that seemed interesting at first, because, you know, so you could take this out, and if you're going to lash it down to something, so you could get a little tighter in there. But what ended up happening is the first day I carried this, I put it on my belt, and I made it down to the end of the driveway. Granted, I have a long driveway, but, and then it fell. The clip was still on my belt. The knife was on the ground. And I didn't feel it all that much. It was actually about 10 feet behind me when I realized it, so I just threw it in my pocket. And then what I did is I glued that down. I super glued it down, because I don't need to be doing that. And I have lashed it to my vest and stuff, and that little clip doesn't add a whole lot. It doesn't seem to change much. And it came with a necklace thing, like, you know, those little round beads that are connected by the little metal thing, kind of necklace type. But it was way too big to fit into these. There's no way I could get it into these. So I don't know what the deal with that was, because it said it could double as a neck knife, but it wouldn't fit through that. I don't know what that chain was for. I mean, you could fit in that end, but then what's the point? Because then you have the knife on your neck, and the scabbard. I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking.